Hi, guys. As you can see, I'm live from Progressive Field for the Guardians' final home game of the season, Tito's farewell. And we're going to do things a little bit different tonight. We're going to do a live episode for anybody who wants to pop in, say hello. Maybe you're down at the ballpark too. But yeah, it's going to be me tonight. We're about to get started. All right, we're currently in the fourth inning here. The Guardians have a 3-0 lead. They got 9 hits on the night. It all got started in the second inning. Tyler Freeman had an RBI single. Brian Rocchio had an RBI single. Jose Tena now 2 for 2. So the kids are starting to show up. They're making the most of their playing time. I'm going to do my best here to keep up with comments for anybody who joins here. But until then, we're just going to kind of talk like it's a regular episode. And yeah, everybody's got their thank you Tito shirts on down here. The families all came out to support the team. Obviously, the final homestand of the year before the guys head out to Detroit this weekend to end the season. And hey, as we all know, it's been a disappointing season. It's kind of been the season where everything went wrong, when we know last year everything went right for us, and it took us to Game 5 of the ALDS. So whether it's, the good fortune we had last year kind of reversing and we got some bad luck this year, I still think there's a lot to be optimistic about as we, kind of put the finishing touches on 2023 and we look ahead to 2024. Yeah, Isaac, Shane Bieber is absolutely cooking down here. I know Tito said on the manager's show, we were driving downtown, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think there'd be as much traffic as there was, but the city's really coming out to show Tito some love. So we were in traffic for a while, and I got to hear Tito on the manager's show with Tom Hamilton, and he's like, you know what? I just want Shane Bieber to leave this start feeling good. Like, I think he deserves it, and that's exactly what Shane Bieber's doing here tonight. He's got the Reds on their heels. He looks great, and honestly, I think that's why it was so important for Shane Bieber and Tristan McKenzie to come back and make a couple starts. The games may not have meant much, and our playoff chances may have been dead by then. But anything for them to head into 2024 feeling good about themselves, they get to have a normal off season, which I think is super important. I think it gets overlooked when guys' off seasons are just kind of consumed by rehab. We obviously saw that with Josh Naylor a couple of years ago after that horrific leg injury. And he just wasn't quite the same after that. And we saw him take off this year after he had a normal off season. And I think especially for pitchers, that's huge. Final out of the inning, just made it second base. Hey, I just think it's hilarious that I look at the lineup before I head down here. I'm super pumped to see Bo Naylor. Surely they know they're going to have a larger crowd than usual just with everything going on with Tito. So I'm thinking, man, I'm sitting over in right field. Maybe I'll get a Bo Naylor home run ball tonight. I look at the lineup, and of course, Cam Gallagher is catching Shane Bieber, batting 9th. And that's going to be one thing that's so exciting about next year is seeing those training wheels taken off of Bo Naylor. And I get it. He's a young guy. He's got to handle a pitching staff. He has a lot of defensive responsibilities. But I have been so impressed with him offensively this year. He's a guy who 2 years ago, everybody knew his defense was going to be good, but he was really struggling offensively in Akron. And he was young for the level, so it wasn't time to panic by any means. But just seeing him up at the big league level, getting consistent at bats, and I've been so impressed with his power. Like, I tweeted it last night, and this dude could hit the ball 400 feet, like, consistently. And not just the power, but he walks a ton, too. He's got a great eye at the plate. He's obviously handled the starters phenomenally since he's been up. And, 3-4 of those guys at times were rookie pitchers who didn't have much experience pitching at this level either. So I've been super impressed with Bo Naylor. I wish I could have seen him in person here tonight. I know I'm going to get to a bunch next year. And that's probably one of my biggest reasons to be optimistic for next year is this Bo Naylor breakout is so good to see. I know I, for one, was kind of in panic mode when that Sean Murphy stuff was going on last offseason. And as we know, Sean Murphy gets dealt to the Braves like everybody else does for next to nothing in return. And obviously when that happened and all they did was sign Mike Zunino, just kind of take a flyer on him for a hope for some power. Jake Fraley just made the first out of the top of the fifth inning. But that was my biggest concern, is that Bo Naylor wouldn't be all that we need him to be. Because obviously they put the catching position in Bo Naylor's hands at that point. That was telling Bo, you know what? We believe in you. We think you're our catcher of the future. And I think that did wonders for his confidence, too. Obviously, we know the offensive success that he had down in AAA throughout the season. I know many of us were screaming why he wasn't up here sooner. And as we've discussed before, I think that was nothing more than A, service time manipulation, and B, just out of respect to Mike Zunino, a veteran guy they signed. They were giving him every possible chance to succeed. But it's all working out now. We're getting to see what Bo Naylor truly can be when he gets consistent playing time. And I think that's ginormous for this lineup moving forward. Obviously, it's a position, too, we're not used to seeing much offense out of here in Cleveland, obviously. So that's probably been my biggest sigh of relief this season. And it's honestly one of the reasons I still watch the games, is seeing what Bo Naylor can do on a daily basis, because he never ceases to amaze me anymore. Wow. Ramon Laureano, have yourself a night. As many of you saw, diving grab in right field. Obviously, after he hit that double in the second to kind of start the scoring. But I'll tell you what, veteran guy, he's still playing his ass off out there. You love to see it. But again, a lineup tonight even, we've all been wondering, like, why can't we just see the kids more, right? Like, I feel like this season, this team has just teetered so much on, like, are we in the race? Are we out of the race? Are we going to play the veterans? Or, what's kind of our direction that we're going to go this season? Obviously, a big part of that being Minnesota never ran away with the division, right? Elliot De La Cruz with a single to right center. Man, did the Guardians fix Elliot De La Cruz? Because he's been struggling mightily after like the first month or so after he came up. But again, we wanted to see the kids sooner than when we did. Obviously, like I mentioned with Bo Naylor, they were pretty aggressive with their pitcher promotions this year. But obviously last night, Andres Gimenez and Gabriel Arias got kind of banged up. So we get to see Brian Rocchio. He got called up today. He's playing shortstop. And we got Jose Tena at third base with Jose Ramirez DHing. And obviously Tyler Freeman at second. So we're kind of getting a look at some of these other kids and what are they going to bring? What can they bring to the table? Are they trade pieces? Are they pieces that we can build around moving forward? Obviously, I know a lot of us are high on Gabriel Arias. Those of you who listen, who follow me on Twitter, know that I'm a Brian Rocchio gal personally. I've always been a Rocchio truther. I think if he can develop a little bit more of that power that we started seeing towards the end of this season in AAA, I think he could be a really special player. And I think he's got the closest to that 5-tool type potential like we saw with Francisco Lindor. And I'm not going to sit here and limit his ceiling and make that comparison to Francisco Lindor, but I think the kid's special, and I think he has it, and I'm not ready to give up on him yet. I like flashes of what I've seen with Gabriel Arias since Ahmed Rosario was traded. I think the everyday at-bats have helped him, and we all know what kind of power he's got in that bat. I think it's Ellie De La Cruz with a steal a second. Cam Gallagher stinks at throwing out runners, man. But it's not going to be an issue soon. He's not going to be on this team next year. But back to Gabriel Arias. I think ultimately it's going to come down to whether he can hit lefties or not. He's never struggled this bad against lefties in the minors that he is this year. And again, I think a big part of that early on was him not playing every day and him not getting many of those at bats. He could never really get into a groove. So I think it should be kind of an open competition in spring next year. Go, Rocchio. Got him! Let's go! Speaking of my guy, Brian Rocchio. Man, live episodes are fun. You get to see this stuff kind of playing out in real time. Ball right between first and second. Rocchio guns him down at the plate. Don't run on Brian Rocchio. Gabriel Arias has a good arm too. But again, I don't think I've seen enough consistency out of Gabriel Arias to just hand him the keys to shortstop opening day next year. We got the hot dog derby coming on, so if it gets a little loud, I apologize. That's just kind of what comes with a live episode, live from the game. Let's see if Mustard can get that dub or not. But again, I think with Gabriel Arias and Brian Rocchio, I think you have a lot of superstar potential there. I think both of those guys kind of have it. And I would really love to see Gabriel Arias playing with a little bit more confidence. That's going to be big for him. I think when he believes in himself, he can do some really great things. So I think, again, with all that this organization has invested in the shortstop position, I think you got to get a star out of that. So whoever they do end up choosing between Gabriel Arias or Brian Rocchio, I just hope they're sure about who it is. That's my only gripe, is that I just hope they don't make a mistake, because I'll tell you what. I've seen some of Junior Camanero's at-bats with Tampa Bay since he got called up last weekend. And it's so depressing, man. He's smoking the ball at like 108 miles an hour. And he's like 20 years old. Like, he just got called up from AA. He hasn't even been to AAA yet. And that's a trade they just flat out missed on. And I tweeted about it at the time of Camanero's call-up last week. But I just don't, I still to this day, I will never understand why Chris Antonetti made that trade. It was after 2021. They were already facing a roster crunch. So they go and trade a guy who was in low A ball at the time, who didn't even need to be added to the 40-man roster, who had star potential even back then. And they trade him for a journeyman pitcher, mid-pitcher, and Tobias Myers, who, does anybody know where or what Tobias Myers is doing right now? Because Junior Caminero is about to light it up for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's going to be a star for a long time. And I think out of the bunch, out of those trades that we kind of question that Chris Antonetti has made, I think he's going to be that one that kind of haunts us the most. And I know there's a lot of people on my Twitter who think the same way, and they're just absolutely sick about Junior Caminero being up with the Tampa Bay Rays. Booja, I won the team a championship. Can you come back and win us one more? Because my kid's only 9 and he's already asking me, like, why don't we win more? Why aren't we going to the playoffs? And hey, that's just part of being a Cleveland sports fan. Derek, who won the hot dog derby? You know what? I don't even know. Maybe they were advertising it, but I don't think I heard any hot dog music, so I might have jumped the gun a little bit. Tobias Myers should be watching this StreamYard live. I don't even know if I'd give Tobias Myers a job right now. Like, he's just going to have to take the heat for that trade because no matter what happens, he's going to be the guy that everybody's resentful at. Because, like, why did my team want you? Like, why did my team trade away a potential superstar for you, who was getting lit up in AAA, and now you're not even on a team? I'm sure he's a super nice guy, and I feel bad he had to be on the receiving end of this backlash, if you will. But that's going to be a bad, bad trade. Here's the Jose cheers. Get ready. The Guardians have 10 hits in the 5th, and it's only the 5th inning. And we know, I mean, they put up 7 runs last night. They probably should have won that game last night. But again, the bullpen did what the bullpen's kind of done all year. But they, you know, the broadcast last night mentioned something, and I'm kind of wondering if it's true. I wonder if Hunter Green was tipping his pitches last night. Anybody in here, do any of you have thoughts on that? Because I'm sitting back and I'm thinking about it. And Hunter Green is a stud. And I know he's been hurt for a lot of this year, but dude throws like 98 on a bad day with some movement. Has a pretty good slider. And it's almost like all our guys in the lineup last night just kind of like knew what was coming all the time. It was like home run derby out here last night. And of course, I come tonight and there's no home runs. I'm not going to complain because we're winning 4-0. And Andrew Abbott was a pretty good young pitcher in his own right. So I'm not going to complain about that. But as we kind of wrap up this season, you know, we head off to Detroit this weekend. I'm sitting here and I'm getting really excited for the off season. And whether you're listening to this live or you end up listening to it when it's posted, I want to hear everybody's thoughts. Like, what are you looking for out of this organization this offseason? Wait, why did I just get an ESPN update that Terry Francona makes it to Guardians home finale without his scooter? He said the hog has finally been put on ice. So, no word on how Tito did get to the game, but apparently it was not by the famous scooter. Maybe he didn't want it to get stolen again. Derek, I like that. Maybe Luke Maile was kind of whispering to the batters and letting them know. But hey, I love that they mentioned, too, speaking of Luke Maile, they said he came to the ballpark yesterday at like noon. And the only person at the ballpark that early is Tito. And he talked to Tito and he's like, man, we got that nervous energy in our dugout. We're, you know, fighting for our lives for a playoff spot down in the National League. And he's asking Tito, like, how do they handle that? What do they do with that? And I think that's so cool. Like, who would have thought Luke Maile? I know I thought when he got traded to the Reds, I'm like, man, that sucks. He's not going to be on a contender anymore. Like, I like the dude. You know, his vibes were good. He'd hit a home run every now and then. And he's a good defensive catcher. I was kind of sad to lose him in that backup role. And then sure enough, the Reds are fighting for a playoff spot, and we're not. And the Reds earlier this year, especially when Ellie De La Cruz got called up, Novelli Marte got called up, Christian Encarnacion Strand. I know Matt McClain's out now, Spencer Steer. They got all these offensive weapons, and they had the type of vibes that the Guardians had at home games last year. And I remember that series against the Braves. they came back and won, and their stadium was just rocking. And I'm not even going to lie, I love that for them. They've been bad for a really long time. This is probably Joey Votto's last year. Respectable, great-ass player. And it just made me miss so much of the Guardians last season. And it makes me think, like, just in life in general. Here's the hot dog derby, Derek. I'm going to keep you posted. But life is so weird because we never really realize that we're in the best moments of our life until they're over. And that's kind of how it was last year. I knew watching it that last year was fun, but I didn't realize how good it actually was until I experienced the frustrations of this season. We're going to do the hot dog derby real quick. Give the people what they want. They're turning the corner. Mustard's taking the lead over ketchup. Onion is falling back to third. Mustard is going to win. Mustard fell down. Psych. Ketchup won. Mustard fell down. Ketchup won. Let's go. Andre Knott is weeping. My kid is super pumped that Ketchup won. My kid's a Ketchup fan as well, if you can't hear him in the background. Chuck, what's up, buddy? I missed my guy. Chuck, I'm going to bring you on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hear you.
Hi, Mel.
What's going on? Oh, hold on.
You okay?
Chuck, what are your thoughts? How have you been feeling watching this team?
I mean, in terms of, it's disappointing season, very disappointing. But it's a new era. This is the biggest offseason this is the biggest offseason in the last 20 years. You know, they major errors.
I wonder if they can make a move for like a Juan Soto if they open up their wallets and they pay him. Fernando Tatis. There isn't anybody I wouldn't give up for Fernando Tatis.
They got to add an outfielder. If you can't be taken seriously unless we add an outfielder.
Yeah, you cannot go into next year with Brennan, Straw, and Kwan. You just can't do it. You 100% can't even do it.
We have to add a right field. Right field is just. Right field is.
What'd you say?
We have to add a right fielder to do it. They have to.
Yeah. 100%. Like
no, this is sad. This is sad for Tito. This is sad.
If they can add a guy with significant pop and put him in the middle of that lineup with Jose and Naylor, both Naylors really, because why can't you hit Bo Naylor second or third next year?
They need like a 5-hole hitter, like a legitimate 5-hole hitter, like a real veteran 5-hole hitter.
Hear me out, Chuck. Juan, Bo Naylor, Jose, Josh Naylor, Juan Soto. Listen, I get it. Our lineup is really lefty heavy, but Juan Soto hits lefties.
Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing.
And I've been saying it since last year. He did not want to be on the West Coast.
I mean, he's a 1-year rental at like $30 million, so I don't see it happening. But they're definitely going to add an outfielder.
It can't happen unless they extend him. Like, if you got to be able to extend him. If you're gonna, he's expensive. You're gonna be trading.
We're probably thinking like Austin Hayes, Santander. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Austin Hayes, one of those players. Taylor Ward.
Yeah, honestly, like, that's probably what we're looking at. Like, I know Taylor Ward's been thrown around. I'd even be fine with that. But something tells me they need to shoot for the stars this offseason. Like, I want them to go big because you have all these assets that are major league ready and they're wasting them because you cannot play them all up here. And when you do what they did this year with all of them, you're hurting their value. I don't care what anybody says.
They're going to make a trade. They have to make a trade.
They got to.
Well, this is sad about Tito. It's very sad.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. Like, once that Twin series after the deadline in Cleveland when Giolito got blown up, I had to accept at that moment, like, this just isn't the year.
Yeah, the season ended that night.
For whatever reason, they just could not turn it on.
The season ended that night.
Yeah, like that Royce Lewis Grand Slam did me in. That was it. The most recent Royce Lewis Grand Slam, I should say.
Yeah, but
what guy in the division are you most afraid of over the next decade? Is it Royce Lewis, Riley Green, Bobby Witt?
Probably Riley Green.
And I don't even know about the White Sox.
Probably Riley Green.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he's not going anywhere. It's between Riley Green, Royce Lewis, probably Riley Green.
Yeah, I think he's too injury prone. I mean, Riley Green's been hurt too, but Riley Green has more tools to me. Like, when he really starts to get it together and figure it out, he's going to be scary.
Yeah.
And you kind of saw with them this year what Green, Torkelson, Kerry Carpenter, Parker Meadows, like, they got a good young core in Detroit. And if they can get that pitching side together, I might be more scared of them for the next 5-6 years.
I wonder if they spend. Else. They may spend. I wonder if they're going to spend Cabrera coming off the books. But
if they get Blake Snell, I could see them spending stupid money like that.
Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to say hi, and I miss you, Mel. Hopefully, we'll have a podcast after the season. All of us.
I miss you, Chuck. Thanks for coming in, buddy.
No problem. Have fun, okay? Have fun.
See ya. All right. I want to thank everybody for popping in. It is the 6th inning now. The Reds now have 4 hits. TJ Friedel's up to bat. Shane Bieber's still in the game. He's at 74 pitches. I'd imagine this is his last inning. Again, it is his final start of the season. So I think he's going out on a high note. I think he came out, he shoved, and he's going to head into the offseason feeling really, really good about himself. And when you couple him and Tristan coming back, along with the rookie starters we have, Tanner Bybee almost surely is going to finish in the top 5 Rookie of the Year voting. We have a lot to be excited about on the pitching side next year. And again, I'm with Chuck. I think they make a trade this offseason. I think they improve the middle of that order. I don't think the front office is stupid. I think they know what they need to add. And I think they know how big of an issue the power was this year. I know scoring runs is the major issue. TJ Friedel just had an RBI single, 4-1 Guardians. What did you just do? And, 4-1 Guardians. But again, scoring runs is the major issue. And a lot of that comes from power. You got to be able to hit the ball out of the park. So again, my battery's about to die. I wanted to hop on, give you guys a live episode from Tito's final home game at Progressive Field tonight. I am starting to get sad about Tito. I think it made me sad just kind of seeing it on the news and realizing he's been here for 11 years. And, you know, I was in college. I was a stupid college kid when he became our manager. He provided consistency at a time when this organization desperately needed it. And obviously, they've had the winningest team in the city of Cleveland for the last decade. And he's a big reason why. He knows how to manage these guys. The players love him. And, you know, we love him. I know he hasn't had the greatest season. And I know I've been hard on Tito, but again, I can be hard on Tito this year and be thankful and grateful and super appreciative for the Hall of Fame career he's had here. So we're going to miss Tito, but it's also going to bring new opportunities. I know Derek commented earlier he would like somebody outside the organization. I agree 100%. I think they need a young analytical guy. I'm going to study up and throw some names out for next week's episode. But it's going to be a change. It's going to be the first off season we started with a managerial search in over a decade. So it's going to be weird, but I think things are going to fall into place after that. But I'm going to get out of here, guys. I'm going to watch the rest of the game. Got my mom and my kid here with me. But I want to thank you all, any of you who joined the live. Thank you. I appreciate it. Anybody who hears this after the Lou Boudreau wants to come back and play shortstop, everybody. I don't know if he's better than, I don't know, prime Lou Boudreau maybe, but how old are you now? I don't know if you could beat out Arias and Roggio. But anyways, I want to thank everybody once again. Thank you all so much for the support as we kind of figure out our schedule and how we're going to do things in the off season. Make sure you follow at Guardians OTCLE on Twitter for all your updates, anything podcast related, any updates we have, guests we have throughout the off season, because we will hopefully have some more minor league guys on. If you listened to us last off season, you know we had a bunch of guys on. We hope to do that again. So make sure you're following us at Guardians OTCLE so you can stay up to date on all that. And head on over to BelieveLandMediaLLC.com. We got you covered on all your professional sports, college sports, high school sports, all your podcast written content. Head on over. The team has you covered. I will see you guys next week. Beaver Show. Got Christian Encarnacion Strand. 4-1 Guardians. I'll see you next week, Cleveland.